Hello there, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Kaelaris, and welcome to my channel. Today we will be looking at a PvT, and here I am against DarkJice, who is spawning in the bottom left. I'm spawning in the top right on Steps of War, and I'm extremely glad that I was finally playing on a 1v1 map, because the past 4 or 5 games I'd played before this were on 2v2 maps like Kaelaris Ravine, etc. So I was getting I was raging at the fact that it was all 2v2 maps. Anyway, this is going to be a follow-up video more from my last game that I uploaded, which showed the 4 gates being rather successful in an initial push. This video is going to be more about when a 4 gate doesn't go exactly to plan. So he's getting his barracks at 10 here. I did expect to see a supply depot when I was coming in, but I saw a barracks. And he's also getting a fast refinery. I do scout this, and I was assuming early reapers, so I'll prepare for that effectively. I'm sending my probe out here at 11 to get down a gateway, and just pumping the probes. Come on, come on, make a probe, make a probe. What are you doing? Make a probe. It'll happen eventually, sorry. There we go. And he is throwing down his supply depot at 11 or 10-ish. And supply locking himself a little bit there. Probably should have done that earlier. And I am picking up this Zelnaga watchtower to watch for any kind of Reaper harass that does come that way. I was expecting it to come from that direction, since it would hop down there and whatnot. He's sending in his first SCV to have a little bit of a scout around my base. Not going to see too much, but just the fact that I have a gate, no doubt. I must apologise for the length of this video. It is 32 minutes long, and I probably will be speeding up a little bit in the middle. But I did really want to cast this to show what happens if you don't fail on a initial 4-gate push. And also a few little counters later on in the game. My probe having a little jewel here. Come on, win, yes. We are victorious. You are hero probe. Congratulations. And my cybernetics core is warping in here. It's nice to meet you too. And he's thrown this wall off effectively, got this tech lab up, and... oh, he was making a Reaper and cancelled it and made a Marauder, so obviously he assumed that I was well prepared for this harass. And yes, we do want a war. Anyway, it looks like he's going for quite a few Marauders here and throwing down a factory, so we will probably see some siege tanks in the mix, throwing down a few mule there in order to boost his economy a little bit. I've got my first stalker out and positioning it over here because I did expect a Reaper harass, and then I realised you can't jump up there, so I probably end up swinging it over here and throwing a pylon down just to give me a bit of extra warning. Throwing down my second gateway here to prepare for a 4-gate push. Probably should have got this gas a tad earlier than I actually do. And this probe is very, very idle. Come on, go do something. Go make a gate or do some more mining. Still got this probe here. He's chilling out at the Zelnaga watchtower. Look at him go. He's doing alright. If you keep it here, it actually does give you a boost to your unit's damage. So if you keep it there for 5 minutes, it gives you 20% boost to your unit's damage. It's really useful. Throwing down a tech lab on his factory in order to, no doubt, get the siege tanks out and probably research his siege tank upgrade, as much as Terrans love it. He's scanning my base and seeing that I am indeed going for a 4-gate push, so that's a bit of a pain. Here, I do have this gas up now, so just kind of getting my fill of that. Moving this probe now to have a look around a little bit, since I estimated that the Reaper harass wasn't coming after sitting around there for a while, and throwing down this proxy pylon in order to be able to warp in units when I do make that push. He's just getting Marauders here at the moment, researching stim, purchasing a few tanks, tank even. Continuing to produce the probes here, as you can see. And that first tank is out. I'm now just waiting for my warp gates to finish, and here they come. My warp gates are now morphing in. Still, he's now researching his siege tank. Siege mode upgrade, and I'm bringing out a few sentries in order to be able to block him off, just in case I do catch him going down a ramp or anything like that. Sentries are fantastic. Everyone buy sentries. Millions of sentries. Just make a whole field full of force fields. That'll win any game. Just do it. Anyway, as you can see here, still getting the Marines and the siege tanks. I'm getting another sentry. More sentries, yes. They will win the game for sure. And waiting to see this initial push. I was hoping he would have a little less units here, and just testing the waters, putting a few force fields there so he can't actually shoot my units as they were shooting that supply depot. Still pumping the Marines and Marauders, and his second siege tank out now with the siege tech up, so this is going to be bloody impenetrable at this point in time for me. Throwing down another barracks, as you can see here, and throwing down a starport as well. Where is that starport? There it is. And also throwing down a command center for an expansion. I'm throwing down a robotics facility since I assumed that he did have this siege tech, and as you can see here, when I push in, I noticed that he does have that siege tech, so I moved back. Losing one stalker to that, a few getting weakened. I should have probably pulled back a lot earlier than that. So again, if you are going against a Terran who's going siege tech, and you're on a map like this, your 4-gate push, if he has it set like this, he's not going to work, really, unless you do something extremely tricky. This robotics facility almost warping in now, and I have a lot of chrono boost on here. I should be chrono boosting something. Come on, chrono boost. As you can see now, he's getting quite a lot of things. He's getting 2 reactors up, he's getting a reactor on his starport, getting a reactor on this barracks. This command center is almost finished. A supply depot going down, a bunker's up, researching combat shields, marines, a lot of diversity going on in this Terran's play here. I myself am getting an observer to see what's going on in his base, putting down my robotics base so I can get some Colossus out. And I did warp in 2 zealots just before. Yes, warped in 2 zealots. At this point I did not know he was going for this expansion, but later on in the game I do discover it. That's a bit of a spoiler, I shouldn't have said that. Anyway, it doesn't matter. Researching Terran infantry weapons level 1 at his engineering bay. Where the bollocks? There it is. And just continuing to mass the Marines here, as well as get out 2 medivacs, which will be excellent support for these Marines and Marauders. I'm now throwing down my first expansion. Should have got it a little bit earlier, but I'll be able to keep up efficiently at this point in time, since he's had to fly his all the way there. He'll have a little bit of an advantage, but it shouldn't be too much. As you can see from this income tab here, he does have a bit of better saturation than me currently here, as opposed to, oh yes, that's quite bad saturation actually. I'm glad I watched this back. So he will be taking a bit of an economic advantage, especially with those mules in play. Going back to the production tab, I am researching my extended thermal lances, and he is also just bringing a Ghost Academy into play here. As you can see, he's coming around, swinging around here for a drop. I did actually notice that he was going for a drop since I'd scouted it with this observer, so I moved my forces back into my base, was wary of these coming around from any direction whatsoever. However, I'm not quite sure I react in due time. We shall see how that goes. Again, just have this observer hanging out in the front of his base. I noticed that a lot of them, as I said before, I knew he was coming with this drop because I noticed that a lot of the Marauders had disappeared from this area. So a drop was imminent. Bringing out a Colossus now. Bringing these out in order to counter all his infantry and hopefully take the siege tanks out. These Colossus are fantastic with the range upgrade. So well worth getting in this situation. My thermal lances have almost finished. He's bringing a Ghost out and he's bringing an armory into play. He's having a little scout up the ramp here, just seeing what's going on. bring that scout down quite efficiently. He hasn't done anything with this expansion. I'm not sure why he hasn't done anything with it up until now. I didn't realise that he had this expansion here, but obviously he isn't saturating as well as he should be doing. He probably could have brought off one of these medivacs, since they're just idling around, taken some of these with his massive saturation and taken them down there. It would have been a really good idea to, you know, spread those SCVs out a little bit. Anyway, continuing to pump the Colossi here, as you can see. And he is bringing a Thor and 2 Vikings out. He has scanned here, so he does know that I have a Colossus in play. However, I do see these Vikings with this observer, so we will see how I combat that very soon. As you can see now here, he's moving in with these dropships, coming for a bit of harass. Hopefully I won't take too much damage, but here is the drop. Moving my units to counteract this. I didn't move these probes out in time, but he does see my units coming in and moves out effectively. Pretty nice harass there, actually. I think he got probably 7 or 8 drone kills, which much to my annoyance. Continuing to pump the Colossi, as well as I'm just warping in like zealots and things like the zealots and stalkers to make sure. As you can see here, he has been caught a little off guard by my units. I assumed he would be coming around for harass on my expansion. This again, DarkJice, make sure you saturate better on your expansion. Anyway, as you can see here, he's just still pumping the Marauders, has a Thor out and a few Vikings. He's pumping out the Vikings continuously and researching ship weapons 1 in order to take out these Colossi. Not much going on here, I do apologise, I'll speed it up a bit. As you can see here, I'm bringing a Stargate into play to counteract his Vikings. Very good idea to bring that out into play, and he's getting weapons at level 2. Let's slow this down a minute, that was way too fast. Anyway, it doesn't matter too much, there wasn't much going on. Still pumping these Colossi, bringing them into play, extremely strong against this kind of army. So well worth